Confidence is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. Most people spend their lives chasing approval, hoping that one day someone will tell them they are good enough. They mistake compliments for confidence, attention for value, and popularity for strength. But the harsh reality is this: the world rarely rewards those who seek permission. It rewards those who carry themselves as if they already belong. The people who seem impossible to intimidate are not fearless. They simply understand something that most never discover. Confidence is not a gift you are born with. It is a weapon you forge through struggle, discipline, rejection, and self-control. Every setback, every betrayal, every failure becomes another layer of armor. Eventually, criticism loses its power, doubt loses its voice, and fear loses its grip. In this video, you will uncover the hidden psychology behind unshakable confidence. You will learn why insecure people desperately seek validation, why confident people remain calm under pressure, and why true power comes from mastering your own mind rather than controlling others. You will discover how to eliminate the habits that silently destroy your self-belief and replace them with principles that make your confidence impossible to shake. This is not about empty motivation or temporary inspiration. This is about transforming the way you think, the way you walk into a room, the way you respond to pressure, and the way the world begins to respond to you. Once your confidence is built from within, no rejection can break it, no criticism can weaken it, and no obstacle can stop it. Watch until the very end, because each lesson builds upon the last. By the time this video is over, you will no longer be searching for confidence. You will be creating it, protecting it, and carrying it like an invisible force that changes every conversation, every opportunity, and every decision you make. This is how unshakable confidence is built. This is how ordinary people become impossible to ignore. Most people never realize that the greatest obstacle to confidence is not fear, failure, or lack of talent. It is the endless need for approval. From childhood, we are trained to seek validation from parents, teachers, friends, and eventually strangers. We learn to measure our worth through applause, compliments, grades, promotions, likes, and recognition. Over time, this habit becomes so deeply rooted that we no longer know who we are without someone else's opinion. The moment your confidence depends on external approval, you hand control of your emotional state to people who have no responsibility for your future. Think about how many decisions people make simply to avoid criticism. They stay quiet when they should speak. They agree when they want to disagree. They hide their ambitions because they fear being judged. They refuse opportunities because they are afraid of looking foolish if they fail. Every one of these decisions slowly weakens the mind. Every compromise tells your subconscious that the opinions of others are more important than your own beliefs. Eventually, you become a stranger to yourself, living a life designed to satisfy everyone except the person staring back at you in the mirror. The approval trap is dangerous because it disguises itself as kindness, humility, and social acceptance. You tell yourself that you are simply being polite or considerate, but beneath the surface is a constant fear of rejection. You smile even when you are disrespected. You tolerate behavior that violates your standards. You apologize for taking up space. You ask for permission to pursue dreams that belong only to you. None of these habits create confidence. They create dependence. People who constantly seek validation become easy to manipulate. Others quickly recognize this need and use it to their advantage. They offer praise when they want something and withdraw it when they want control. They make you question your decisions, your abilities, and even your identity. The more you crave approval, the more power you give away. Confidence cannot exist where emotional dependence thrives, because confidence requires the ability to stand alone when necessary. Look closely at the individuals who command genuine respect. They are not obsessed with being liked by everyone. They understand that trying to satisfy every person is an impossible mission. Instead, they remain loyal to their principles even when those principles make them unpopular. They accept that criticism is not proof of failure. Often, criticism is simply the price of refusing to conform. The strongest minds recognize that disagreement is inevitable whenever you choose authenticity over approval. One of the greatest shifts you can make is learning to separate your value from other people's reactions. Someone's praise does not increase your worth, just as someone's criticism does not reduce it. Their opinions are filtered through their experiences, insecurities, expectations, and personal biases. If you build your identity on changing opinions, your confidence will rise and fall every single day. But when your identity is built on your actions, discipline, and character, it becomes stable because those qualities remain under your control. Notice how often successful people are misunderstood. Innovators, leaders, entrepreneurs, artists, and visionaries were frequently doubted before they were admired. If they had waited for universal approval, they would have accomplished nothing. Every meaningful achievement begins with the willingness to disappoint those who cannot see your vision. Confidence grows each time you choose your long-term purpose over temporary acceptance. The desire to be accepted is natural, but allowing it to govern every decision quietly destroys personal power. Every time you refuse to express your ideas because you fear judgment, you reinforce the belief that your voice is not valuable. Every time you abandon your goals to meet someone else's expectations, you convince yourself that your dreams matter less than their approval. Over months and years, these small acts of self-betrayal accumulate until you begin doubting your own instincts. Breaking free from this cycle requires deliberate action. Start making decisions based on your principles rather than on applause. Speak honestly even when your opinion is unpopular. Set boundaries without apologizing. Accept that not everyone will understand your choices and resist the urge to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. The less you depend on validation, the more emotionally independent you become. That independence changes the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you make decisions, and the way others perceive your presence, because genuine confidence is never borrowed from the crowd. It is built by refusing to let the crowd define who you are. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not against competitors, critics, or difficult circumstances. They take place inside your own mind. Every action begins with a thought, every habit begins with a belief, and every success or failure is first decided by the conversations you have with yourself. Most people spend their lives trying to control the world around them while completely neglecting the world within. They blame the economy, their family, their past, or bad luck, never realizing that the strongest prison is often the one built by their own thinking. The human mind has an incredible ability to create both confidence and fear. It can convince you that you are capable of extraordinary achievements, or it can persuade you that you are destined to fail before you even begin. The difference is rarely intelligence or talent. It is the discipline to recognize destructive thoughts without becoming their servant. Your mind produces thousands of thoughts every day, but not every thought deserves your attention. The weak mind believes every doubt it hears. The disciplined mind questions every doubt before accepting it as truth. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It tells you that the timing is wrong, that you need more preparation, that someone else is more qualified, or that failure will destroy your reputation. These excuses sound reasonable because the mind is designed to protect you from uncertainty, but protection and growth rarely exist in the same place. Every major opportunity requires stepping into situations where certainty does not exist. If you allow fear to make every decision, your comfort zone becomes your permanent home, and comfort slowly transforms into limitation. Mastering your mind requires learning the difference between emotion and reality. There will be mornings when you feel unmotivated, but your goals remain just as important. There will be moments when you feel insecure, yet your abilities have not disappeared. Emotions are temporary visitors. They rise, they fall, and they constantly change. If your decisions are based entirely on emotion, your life will become unpredictable. Discipline begins when your actions are guided by purpose instead of mood. Many people wait until they feel confident before taking action. This is one of the greatest misconceptions about confidence. Action creates confidence. not the other way around. Every difficult conversation you face, every challenge you accept, and every obstacle you overcome teaches your brain that you are more capable than you previously believed. Confidence is evidence collected through repeated action, not a magical feeling that appears before the journey begins. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Whatever you repeatedly focus on grows stronger. If you constantly replay your mistakes, your failures become larger than they really are. If you constantly compare yourself to others, your insecurities become impossible to ignore. But if you focus on learning, improving, and solving problems, your mind begins searching for opportunities instead of threats. The direction of your attention shapes the direction of your confidence. Negative thinking is often a habit rather than a reality. Many people automatically expect rejection, criticism, or failure because they have repeated those mental patterns for years. The brain becomes efficient at whatever it practices. If you practice doubt every day, doubt becomes automatic. If you practice resilience, courage, and determination, those qualities gradually become your default response. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is built through consistent repetition until empowering thoughts become stronger than limiting beliefs. Silence is another overlooked form of mental strength. In a noisy world filled with constant opinions, distractions, and endless comparisons, the strongest individuals create moments of stillness. They reflect before reacting. They observe before speaking. They refuse to let every emotional impulse dictate their behavior. This level of self-control creates clarity because a calm mind sees possibilities that an anxious mind cannot recognize. Every challenge you encounter becomes a test of your mental discipline. Rejection tests your self-worth. Failure tests your persistence. Success tests your humility. Criticism tests your emotional control. Pressure tests your composure. These experiences are not interruptions to your growth. They are the very conditions that strengthen your mind. Just as muscles grow stronger by resisting weight, the mind becomes stronger by resisting the urge to surrender to fear, panic, or self-doubt. The world will always present uncertainty, competition, and unexpected setbacks. You cannot control every event, every person, or every outcome. What remains completely within your control is your response. The moment you stop allowing circumstances to dictate your emotional state, you begin reclaiming your power. A disciplined mind does not deny difficulty, but it refuses to become emotionally enslaved by it. It chooses patience over panic, focus over distraction, courage over comfort, and purpose over excuses, because the person who learns to govern their own thoughts possesses a strength that no external obstacle can easily overcome. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain, rejection, and failure as if these experiences are signs that they are moving in the wrong direction. They believe confidence belongs only to those who have never been defeated. But history tells a different story. The strongest individuals are rarely those who lived comfortable lives. They are the ones who endured disappointment, humiliation, loss, and repeated setbacks, yet refused to let those experiences define them. Real confidence is not born from constant success. It is forged in the moments when everything falls apart and you choose to rebuild yourself anyway. Every rejection carries a hidden lesson. When someone says no to your idea, your dream, your application, or your efforts, the immediate reaction is often emotional. You begin questioning your worth, your abilities, and your future. But rejection is not always a judgment of your value. Sometimes it is simply a reflection of timing, perspective, or circumstances beyond your control. The mistake most people make is allowing one person's decision to become a permanent belief about themselves. They stop trying, not because they are incapable, but because they have convinced themselves that rejection is proof they should quit. Failure creates a similar illusion. Society celebrates victory while quietly ignoring the countless defeats that came before it. You see the successful entrepreneur, but not the failed businesses that taught valuable lessons. You admire the confident speaker, but not the years of nervous presentations and awkward mistakes. You notice the accomplished leader, but overlook the criticism, setbacks, and difficult decisions that shaped their character. Every achievement you admire is built upon a foundation of experiences that most people would have considered unbearable. Pain has a unique ability to reveal the truth. During comfortable times, it is easy to believe you are mentally strong because nothing challenges your patience or resilience. It is only when life becomes difficult that your true character emerges. Hardship exposes weaknesses you never noticed before. It reveals unhealthy habits, emotional dependence, poor discipline, and limiting beliefs. While many see these discoveries as reasons to feel discouraged, they are actually opportunities to grow stronger because you cannot improve what you refuse to acknowledge. The greatest danger is not failure itself. The greatest danger is allowing failure to become your identity. There is a profound difference between saying, I failed, and saying, I am a failure. One describes an event, the other defines a person. Your experiences are chapters in your story, not the title of the book. Every successful individual has moments they wish they could erase, decisions they regret, and opportunities they missed. The difference is that they refuse to let temporary setbacks become permanent labels. Instead of asking why something happened to you, begin asking what it can teach you. This simple shift transforms pain into education. Every mistake contains information. Every disappointment exposes a weakness that can be corrected. Every obstacle forces you to develop skills that comfort never requires. The people who become exceptionally confident are not those who avoid suffering. They are the ones who study it, learn from it, and use it as fuel for their next attempt. Resilience is built through repetition. The first rejection hurts deeply because it feels unfamiliar. The second rejection still hurts, but you recover a little faster. After facing enough disappointments, something changes within you. You stop fearing rejection because you realize it cannot destroy you. You understand that your ability to recover is far more important than your ability to avoid discomfort. This realization creates a quiet confidence that no compliment could ever provide. Many people waste years waiting for the perfect opportunity, believing that ideal conditions will eliminate the possibility of failure. But perfection is an illusion. Every meaningful goal involves uncertainty. Every ambitious dream carries the risk of disappointment. If you wait until success is guaranteed, you will spend your life watching others achieve what you were too afraid to pursue. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move despite uncertainty because growth always demands a willingness to face the unknown. There is also tremendous power in emotional endurance. Pain often convinces people to become bitter, cynical, or resentful. They allow past betrayals to close their hearts and limit their future. But strength comes from refusing to let painful experiences poison your mindset. Learn the lesson without carrying the bitterness. Remember the mistake without becoming trapped by regret. Protect your standards without allowing fear to control your relationships or your ambitions. Every scar tells a story of survival. Every setback you overcome becomes evidence that you are stronger than you once believed. Confidence built on comfort disappears the moment life becomes difficult. Confidence built through adversity grows stronger with every challenge because it is supported by proof. You know what you have survived. You know what you have endured. You know that no matter how difficult the next obstacle appears, you possess the ability to adapt, recover, and continue moving forward with greater wisdom, stronger discipline, deeper resilience, and a level of inner power that only struggle can create. There is a kind of power that requires no loud voice, no endless explanations, and no desperate attempts to impress anyone. It is the power of presence. The moment certain people walk into a room, they immediately capture attention without demanding it. They do not chase respect because they naturally command it. This kind of influence is not based on physical appearance, wealth, or social status. It is built on the confidence that comes from complete control over yourself. People instinctively observe those who appear certain of who they are because certainty is rare in a world filled with insecurity. Most people unknowingly weaken their own presence through nervous habits. They speak too quickly because they fear silence. They laugh at every uncomfortable moment to gain acceptance. They constantly explain themselves because they worry about being misunderstood. They seek approval through excessive politeness, unnecessary apologies, and endless attempts to prove their worth. These behaviors may seem harmless, but they communicate uncertainty. Every unnecessary explanation tells others that you are asking for permission to exist rather than standing firmly in your own convictions. One of the greatest characteristics of a powerful presence is emotional control. Imagine two individuals facing criticism. One immediately becomes defensive, raises their voice, and desperately tries to justify every decision. The other remains calm, listens carefully, responds with composure, and refuses to allow emotion to control the conversation. Which person appears stronger? In almost every situation, calmness is interpreted as confidence because it demonstrates mastery over emotion. The individual who cannot control themselves will always struggle to influence others. Silence is another overlooked source of strength. Insecure people often believe they must constantly speak in order to remain relevant. They interrupt conversations, dominate discussions, and rush to fill every quiet moment. Confident people understand that silence creates curiosity. It allows others to think. It gives your words greater weight because you are not speaking simply to hear your own voice. When every sentence has intention, people naturally pay closer attention. Body language also reveals far more than words ever could. Long before someone hears you speak, they observe how you carry yourself. A person who constantly avoids eye contact, fidgets nervously, or appears uncomfortable communicates uncertainty without saying a single word. On the other hand, someone who stands with calm posture, makes steady eye contact, and moves with purpose sends a completely different message. Confidence is often recognized before it is spoken because the body reflects the state of the mind. Powerful individuals never rush to prove themselves. They understand that true value does not require constant advertisement. Think about the strongest oak tree in a forest. It does not announce its strength to every passing traveler. It simply stands firm through every season. In the same way, people with genuine confidence allow their actions to speak louder than their promises. They focus on consistency instead of performance because they know reputation is built over time rather than through dramatic displays. Another essential part of commanding respect is setting clear boundaries. People often test the limits of those around them, consciously or unconsciously. If you tolerate disrespect once, many will assume they can repeat it. If you constantly sacrifice your own standards to avoid conflict, others begin viewing your kindness as weakness. Respect grows when people understand that your values are not negotiable. This does not require aggression or hostility. It requires quiet certainty. A calm refusal is often far more powerful than an emotional argument. Presence also comes from being completely engaged in the current moment. Many people enter conversations while mentally distracted by their phone, their insecurities, or their desire to impress. They are physically present but mentally absent. Individuals with strong presence give their full attention to the person in front of them. They listen carefully, observe details, and respond thoughtfully. This level of focus creates an undeniable impression because genuine attention has become increasingly rare. Confidence is also reflected in patience. Weak minds demand immediate recognition, immediate results, and immediate validation. Strong minds understand that lasting influence develops gradually. They are willing to invest years improving themselves without needing constant applause. They recognize that every disciplined action adds another layer to their character. Instead of chasing attention, they pursue excellence, knowing that respect naturally follows competence. Perhaps the most important quality of an unbreakable presence is authenticity. Pretending to be powerful eventually becomes exhausting because maintaining a false image requires endless effort. Real confidence comes from accepting who you are while continuously working to become better. You no longer feel the need to imitate someone else's personality or seek approval by changing yourself for different audiences. The consistency between your thoughts, words, and actions creates trust, and trust creates influence. When people know that your character remains steady regardless of pressure, criticism, success, or failure, they begin to recognize a quiet strength that cannot be manufactured, manipulated, or shaken by the opinions of others or the changing circumstances of the world. Fear is one of the oldest forces shaping human behavior. It whispers before every difficult decision, every ambitious goal, and every opportunity that has the power to transform your life. It convinces intelligent people to remain silent, talented people to stay invisible, and capable people to settle for far less than they deserve. Most individuals believe fear is an enemy that must be eliminated before they can become confident, but fear never truly disappears. Even the strongest leaders, the greatest athletes, and the most successful entrepreneurs experience fear. The difference is that they refuse to let fear make their decisions. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it is the ability to act despite its presence. Fear becomes powerful only when it is left unchallenged. Every time you avoid a difficult conversation, postpone an important decision, or abandon a meaningful goal because of anxiety, your mind learns a dangerous lesson. It begins believing that avoidance is the safest solution. Over time, this habit grows stronger until your comfort zone becomes a prison. The walls of that prison are invisible, but they are incredibly difficult to escape because they are built by your own repeated choices. Discipline is the force that breaks these invisible chains. While motivation depends on emotion, discipline depends on commitment. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Some mornings you wake up inspired, while other mornings every excuse feels convincing. If your actions depend on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline, however, teaches you to move forward regardless of how you feel. It reminds you that your goals deserve action even when your emotions resist. Every act of discipline sends a powerful message to your subconscious mind. Waking up early when you would rather sleep, exercising when your body feels tired, studying when distractions are everywhere, and keeping promises you made to yourself all reinforce one essential belief. They teach your mind that your actions are stronger than your excuses. Confidence grows naturally when you repeatedly prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Self-respect is earned through consistency, not through wishful thinking. Fear also feeds on uncertainty. The less prepared you are, the more frightening every challenge appears. Imagine standing in front of an audience without preparation. Anxiety immediately takes control because your mind recognizes weakness. Now imagine standing before that same audience after hours of practice, research, and repetition. The fear may still exist, but it becomes manageable because preparation creates certainty. Discipline transforms uncertainty into competence, and competence weakens fear's influence. Self-control is another foundation of lasting confidence. Many people believe strength is demonstrated by controlling others, but real strength begins with controlling yourself. Can you remain calm when someone insults you? Can you stay focused when distractions surround you? Can you continue working when no one is watching? Can you delay temporary pleasure in exchange for long-term success? These are the questions that reveal true discipline. Anyone can behave well when circumstances are easy. Character is revealed when life becomes uncomfortable. Modern life constantly encourages instant gratification. Every notification, every endless scroll, and every easy distraction trains the mind to seek immediate rewards. Unfortunately, confidence cannot be developed through shortcuts. It requires repeated acts of patience and effort. The individual who constantly chooses comfort weakens their ability to face adversity. The person who deliberately chooses difficult tasks strengthens their mental endurance. Every uncomfortable action completed voluntarily makes future challenges seem less intimidating. One of the greatest mistakes people make is waiting until they feel fearless before taking action. They tell themselves they will start the business when they gain confidence, speak up when they stop feeling nervous, or pursue their dream when the fear finally disappears. That day never arrives because courage is developed through action, not waiting. Every small victory expands your comfort zone. Every difficult decision teaches your brain that discomfort is temporary. Every challenge completed becomes proof that you are more capable than your fears suggested. Discipline also protects you from emotional instability. Without it, every criticism feels personal, every setback feels permanent, and every obstacle feels impossible. With discipline, your focus shifts away from emotions and towards solutions. You stop asking whether you feel like taking action and begin asking what must be done next. This mindset creates resilience because your progress is no longer controlled by temporary feelings. The strongest people in the world are not necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent. They are often the most disciplined. They understand that success is built through countless ordinary decisions repeated over months and years. They know that confidence is earned one promise at a time, one difficult choice at a time, one uncomfortable step at a time. They train themselves to embrace responsibility instead of avoiding it, to welcome challenges instead of fearing them, and to maintain control over their thoughts, emotions, habits, and actions until discipline becomes their identity and fear loses its ability to dictate the direction of their life. One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing the world to decide who they should become. From an early age, society begins handing you invisible scripts. It tells you what success should look like, how you should behave, what career you should pursue, what opinions you should hold, and even how much of yourself you should reveal. Many people spend decades following these expectations without ever questioning whether they truly align with their own values. They become experts at pleasing others while slowly losing their own identity. Genuine confidence can never exist when your life is built on someone else's definition of success. Living on your own terms does not mean ignoring wisdom or rejecting every rule. It means developing the courage to think independently. It means asking yourself difficult questions that most people avoid. Are your goals truly yours, or were they borrowed from society? Are your decisions driven by purpose or by fear of judgment? Are you pursuing happiness or are you chasing approval disguised as achievement? These questions separate people who merely exist from those who consciously design their own lives. Independent thinking is uncomfortable because it often places you in conflict with the crowd. The majority naturally distrusts anyone who refuses to conform. When you stop following expectations, some people will misunderstand your intentions. Others will criticize your choices because your independence reminds them of the freedom they abandoned. Many individuals are uncomfortable around those who refuse to seek validation because it exposes their own dependence on approval. Understanding this truth protects you from taking every criticism personally. One of the strongest forms of confidence is the ability to make decisions without requiring unanimous agreement. Weak minds constantly search for reassurance before taking action. They ask everyone for advice, hoping someone else will remove the responsibility of making difficult choices. While seeking knowledge is valuable, allowing others to control every decision slowly destroys self-trust. Every time you ignore your own judgment in favor of someone else's opinion, you teach yourself that your instincts cannot be trusted. Over time, this dependence becomes a habit that weakens your confidence. People who live according to their own principles develop a unique sense of stability. They are not easily influenced by trends, temporary praise, or public opinion because their identity is rooted in values rather than popularity. When everyone celebrates one direction, they do not automatically follow. When everyone panics, they remain calm enough to think clearly. This ability to resist emotional contagion gives them a significant advantage because they make decisions based on reason instead of pressure. Living on your own terms also requires accepting responsibility for your choices. Freedom without responsibility becomes recklessness. Many people want independence, but they still expect others to rescue them from the consequences of their decisions. Truly confident individuals understand that every choice carries responsibility. They do not blame circumstances, luck, or other people when life becomes difficult. Instead, they ask themselves what they can control and where they can improve. This mindset transforms setbacks into opportunities for growth because responsibility creates power while blame creates helplessness. There is another important truth about confidence that many overlook. You cannot become dangerously confident while constantly comparing your journey to someone else's. Comparison quietly steals satisfaction because there will always be someone richer, smarter, stronger, or more successful in some area of life. If your confidence depends on being better than everyone else, it will always remain fragile. Instead, measure yourself against the person you were yesterday. Progress, not perfection, is the foundation of lasting confidence. The courage to live authentically also requires learning to disappoint people. This may sound harsh, but it is unavoidable. If every decision is designed to keep everyone happy, you will eventually betray your own values. Some relationships will change when you begin setting boundaries. Some people will distance themselves when you stop tolerating disrespect. Others may accuse you of becoming selfish simply because you refuse to sacrifice your peace for their comfort. These reactions are often signs that your standards have changed, not that your character has weakened. Dangerous confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance depends on feeling superior to others, while genuine confidence depends on being secure within yourself. An arrogant person constantly seeks opportunities to prove their importance. A confident person no longer feels the need to prove anything. They listen more than they speak, they observe more than they react, and they allow their actions to communicate their character. Their focus shifts away from winning every argument and toward building a life that reflects their principles. When you begin living according to your own standards instead of society's expectations, something remarkable happens. Your decisions become clearer because they are guided by purpose rather than pressure. Your relationships become healthier because they are built on authenticity rather than performance. Your confidence becomes stronger because it no longer depends on applause, approval, or comparison. You wake each day knowing that your direction is determined by your values, your discipline, your vision, and your willingness to remain true to yourself regardless of criticism, uncertainty, changing trends, or the expectations that the world continues trying to place upon you.